Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Wrestling Uncensored. Tonight, we preview the WWE Elimination Chamber 2021. Matches getting canceled, matches getting changed. We'll give you the preview and the predictions. Let's do it. Yeah, what's up, everybody? Wrestling Uncensored time. I'm Dave Simon. Where's my main man? Johnny North, #1 pro wrestler, #1 man, and good friend. How you doing, buddy?
I've been better. I mean, I thought SmackDown was kind of terrible tonight. I mean, we have a pay-per-view Sunday, and that was a horrible way to go into a pay-per-view.
Yeah, not the best go-home show, right? Not great. Not great. We will recap SmackDown here on the show. Want to give a shout-out to some people watching us already. The chat was jumping before the show even started. Craig Paquette was early on the show. Shout-out to Craig. Shout-out to Patrick C. Hamilton, Douglas Hepburn, my main man on the chat. They are right there. They are members of the team. Don't forget to become a member. Don't forget to like this video at the very least. If you're not going to become a member, you could throw a like our way. You could leave a comment. You could subscribe, and you could click the bell when you get the subscription going so you know when we're on. You get the notifications. You know, you don't have to become a member, although we do appreciate you more if you are a member, like Patrick and Doug and Craig. We like you guys. We love you guys, and we appreciate you guys becoming a member of the YouTube channel and going to donate.ringsidereport.net to become a member as well and get some of this sweet merch. Look, it's me. It's my face on a cup. That's Fred. There's me over there. Look at that. Get some of this merch over at merch.ringsidereport.net as well. What's up, Mako? What up, Bob Cote? People in the chat, Franco316. I see you guys. I see you. We appreciate you. Thank you for watching. This is our Chamber preview. We're also going to recap SmackDown. Johnny getting us started. This was the go-home show for WWE Elimination Chamber, the last SmackDown. Did you notice how subtle they were with Edge doing promos with everybody in the chamber? That was real subtle. It started out with an Edge and Kevin Owens thing, and I was like, I mean, Edge and Roman did a whole promo to start the show, but, you know, Edge teasing who he's going to wrestle at Mania. He won the Royal Rumble, so he can take on, you know, his choice of WWE Champion or Universal Champion. Edge cuts an in-ring promo at the top of SmackDown, talking about possibly choosing Roman Reigns, but all the different possibilities and who he might face. But he seems like Roman is the #1 option. Roman Reigns comes out with Paul Heyman and Jey Uso. Takes Roman forever to get to the ring, really milking that ring entrance with nobody in the arena. Just killing time. WWE shows just killing time. Is it a longer entrance for Roman? Is he walking slower? Like, what's going on? Did you notice that, John, or was that just me?
I feel he's been doing that for a while now. It's just the whole, like, he's a bad guy now, or supposed to be a bad guy, so he's just going to take his time, and it's actually supposed to, I think, make you hate him more because he's doing this kind of Randy Orton kind of entrance.
Yeah, super slow. Very methodical entrance from Roman Reigns. He shows up. He says, I'm the main event. I'm the only choice. There's other main eventers, but I'm the real main event, and you know this, Edge, and I'm the only guy that you should choose for Mania. And Edge is like, are you sure you want me to choose you for Mania? Because then you have to face me at Mania. Long promo, said nothing. Sami Zayn showed up. He kind of saved it, salvaged what you could from this really boring, really long opening promo. And Edge has been on fire with the promos in this run, but this one was a little nothing. He had nothing to say. All he had to say was what he had to say 2 weeks ago when he showed up on SmackDown. Hey, I won the Rumble, and I can choose my opponent at WrestleMania, and it might be Roman Reigns. And that's all Edge really had. Like, he didn't have much material, so I don't blame Adam Copeland for the dud promo tonight. The writing, once again, failing the talent. And I do mean talent. There's a lot of talent in the WWE roster, and the writing just failing tonight failing the Rated R superstar who had nothing to say. Sami Zayn showed up. He had something to say. He's always got something to say. He makes something out of nothing. Comes out and he's like, hey, guys, you guys are talking about WrestleMania, but you should be worried about me. Don't forget about me. I'm in the Elimination Chamber, and I have a Universal title shot on Sunday. And I was like, oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Where's Johnny? I lost Johnny. There you are. Right?
I'm back. Nice.
But, you know, Sami Zayn comes out, makes a very solid point. Hey, guys, there's an Elimination Chamber match coming up on Sunday for Roman's title. Why are you talking like it's a foregone conclusion that Roman Reigns will be champion come WrestleMania when he's set to defend his championship on Sunday? I guess it's not for... The Chamber match is not for Roman's belt, right? The winner of the Chamber gets a match like right after the Chamber with Roman for the belt, which... Is it right after, John? Have they clarified that?
It's that night. I mean, they haven't said it for sure that's going to be right after. I could see it being the SmackDown Chamber is probably going to be first, and then I could see Roman and whoever wins probably be the main event.
Right. So we have Roman defending the title, but it is kind of a foregone conclusion. Like, they're not really making it hard to guess what's going to happen. Roman Reigns is the Universal Champion. We're in WrestleMania season. He's set to defend his title on a pay-per-view where his opponent will have to beat 5 other guys in an Elimination Chamber. I mean, he doesn't have to beat them all. He could just beat one guy and survive. But still, you have to survive the Chamber, and then you face Roman Reigns, who's already booked as like the strongest heel, unstoppable force of the WWE. So why would anybody believe going into this pay-per-view that Roman Reigns isn't going to walk out champion? They have tried. They tried tonight. You know, they had Edge cut promos with everybody on the SmackDown roster who's in the Chamber match. Edge went backstage and did a little thing with Kevin Owens. And he's like, oh, you know, I'm going to win the Chamber, and I'm going to face you at Mania. And Edge is like, oh, yeah, I would like that. That would be nice. And I was like, yeah, I would like that too. That sounds better than Edge versus Roman. A lot of the matches that they teased for Mania tonight sounded a lot better than Edge versus Roman. Not King Corbin and Edge. King Corbin's in the Chamber, and he teased a match with Edge, I think. Although his little promo with Edge was more about having a $10,000 suit and a $39,000 watch and how Edge should bow down because he is outspending his talent. I mean, really, to be truly honest. How many more years does King Corbin have where he can earn enough to buy a $39,000 watch? I mean, how much is Baron Corbin really making that he's buying a $40,000 watch? And does he realize his future is limited? Like, I don't imagine he's going to be wrestling forever. Hey, whatever. He likes watches. Good for him. But, like, $40,000 for a watch? I know people do that. And that's Corbin's gimmick now, I guess. He's buying expensive shit. Weird. You know? Corbin's not saving his money, brother. He's going to be on the Comic-Con circuit when his career's over. He's going to need to. He's going to need to wrestle till he's 55 or 61, like Steve Borden.
Well, that, I think, is kind of different. I mean, it's all about how you
Sting was over.
Spend your money.
Sting was over at a certain point. Corbin won't be able to last as long as Sting because Sting has been over. And a world champion, which Corbin will probably never be, and that's why he will not face Edge at WrestleMania. Cesaro had a little backstage promo with Edge and said he's going to win the Chamber and beat Roman and face Edge at Mania, and no one believed it. But I was like, yeah, that sounds nice, Edge and Cesaro. I'd watch that. And then Daniel Bryan did it with Edge, did a little promo, and Edge was like, you know, you inspired me to come back, Daniel Bryan. And Bryan's like, yeah, well, you know, if I win the Chamber and then I beat Roman, I'd like to face you at WrestleMania. And Edge was like, yeah, some might say that was a dream match. And Daniel Bryan said, yeah, some might say it's long overdue. I would say both those things. I would say it is a dream match that's long overdue. Is there anybody in the Elimination Chamber and Roman Reigns that you would rather see of those 7 guys, the 6 in the Chamber and Roman? Is there anybody you'd rather see go one-on-one with Edge for the Universal Championship other than Daniel Bryan? Like, to me, Bryan is the best. I'm a Daniel Bryan super fan. You all know this. I think Daniel Bryan is the best wrestler in the company. He proved it again tonight. He had match of the night. He killed it. Tremendous suplexes to Sami Zayn. Daniel Bryan is the number 1 wrestler in the WWE. I would say him and AJ Styles are 1 and 1A. You know, depends on the night. They are the 2 best wrestlers in the company today. You could dispute me if you want to, but I will disagree forever. I don't care what Johnny says about Randy Orton. I think Daniel Bryan is the number 1 talent in the WWE. So, I mean, come on, John. So,
It's okay.
I would
Randy's
love...
great.
Randy's not in the picture here, right? I'm not talking about Raw. I'm talking about SmackDown. Would you rather see Roman versus Edge, like match quality-wise? I understand the story, and Roman is a star, and he's the big dog, hoo-wah, all that shit. But Daniel Bryan and Edge one-on-one at WrestleMania for the title. I mean, Kevin Owens and Edge one-on-one for the title would be pretty sweet, too. Cesaro and Edge one-on-one for the title would be pretty sweet. Those 3 options, Sami Zayn and Edge for the title, you know? Those 4 options are better than Roman Reigns versus Edge for the title, which is apparently what we're getting. Not so interested in that. Roman and Edge, like, how good can that match really be? It won't be as good as the Daniel Bryan Edge match. That will never take place, but, you know, I'd like it to take place. Daniel Bryan's the best.
Well, I know you didn't like Edge's promo, but I thought he said something that was really important, is the fact that, you know, Roman needs Edge to be the main event because Edge is what guy that's really important right now because he won the Rumble. So Roman needs Edge because Edge is the most important guy right now.
Right.
So, and that's really true, is what he's saying. A lot of that's truth. So that's the great part about Edge, is that a lot of what he's saying is just fact.
Because he's such a star, and he won the Rumble, and he is probably the biggest star that is going to be at Mania. As far as longevity, you know, people knowing who he is. Like, who's working Mania this year? Taker's not. Triple H is not. Brock probably won't be. At this point, seems highly unlikely. Goldberg is not. You look at the stars that the WWE is going to put out there, guys that people know, nothing bigger than Edge. You kind of have to give him to Roman because you know they're going to give something to Roman. It's the Roman show, all that stuff he says about being the main event and the guy and going on to main event his 6th WrestleMania. That's all true because that's how the WWE books it. Is it super entertaining? Depends who you are, you know? Could they do better with other guys? I think so. But that's not what the WWE does. Daniel Bryan and Edge would be a hell of a match. Can they just give it to me at Fastlane or a SmackDown or something? Can we just see that match? I don't care when it takes place. I just want it to be 20 minutes long. I want to see those guys wrestle for 20 minutes on TV. Would I prefer it be at Mania for the title? Like, of course, you know? Big stakes, all that, yes. But I'll take just a match at this point because I've never seen it before and I'd really like to see it. Edge returned over a year ago, right, at the Rumble last year, and he's wrestled one guy. This is a guy who hasn't wrestled a generation of wrestlers that he missed out on in his semi-retirement, retirement, right? A whole generation of guys that haven't wrestled Edge. Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Daniel Bryan. As a wrestling fan, AJ Styles. How do you not salivate at the possibility of these matches, right? And the WWE is giving us Edge versus goddamn Randy Orton over and over again, and he wrestled him before he retired. WWE's always saying, oh, we're going to give you something new, never seen before, once in a lifetime. And now the big match that you're going to get for Edge, other than Randy, which we've seen a bunch, now he's moving on. And who's he going to wrestle? Roman Reigns. Kind of a bummer. Like, of all the guys that you wanted to see Edge work, was Roman at the top of the list? I understand. Like, maybe he was for Edge because he sees him as the guy and the WWE champion and the main event and the top star in the company. And I get all that. But for wrestling fans, I don't know how many wrestling fans give a shit about Edge versus Roman. I don't think that was on the list of dream matches that you were hoping to see when Edge came back. I'd rather see Edge wrestle Seth Rollins. I just think it would be better. I think their styles would match up a lot better. Edge versus Roman is like not doing it for me as a WrestleMania main event. And it is one of the WrestleMania main events. So we could watch the Chamber all we want on Sunday, but we know what's going to happen. Their job is to make us believe for a minute that Roman Reigns is not going to walk out of the Elimination Chamber still Universal Champion. Kevin Owens did a really good job in that last man standing match of making you believe, especially when it was clear Roman wasn't getting to his feet and the referee had to stop counting because he couldn't reach the 10 count. I was like, wait a second, Kevin just won, didn't he? Why'd the ref stop counting? So they made you believe there. At Elimination Chamber, they're going to have to make you believe again. It's going to be a hard sell. Because the closer we get to Mania with Roman still champion, the less you believe they're going to take it off of him, right? If they were going to change direction and go with another champion going into WrestleMania, they would have done it already. And if they don't do it by the Chamber, like they're definitely not doing it. And really, I mean, they're not doing it, right? Roman versus Edge is happening at WrestleMania. And that's why, you know, you're going into the Elimination Chamber, and it's a lukewarm pay-per-view. You're not that hyped. You have a great Elimination Chamber match. You have Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, King Corbin, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan. Great match. But the winner of it just loses to Roman Reigns on pay-per-view. And it's probably going to be Kevin Owens. Right? Like, Kevin's going to win the Chamber. It's like, okay, he got screwed out of all his other matches because of Jey Uso or Paul Heyman or referees or whatever. All his other matches with Roman, they found a way for Roman to win, but for Kevin to get screwed somehow in the match. And that's what's going to happen again at this pay-per-view. Kevin's going to win, so he's going to get his match with Roman, but he's going to come in less than 100% because he just won an Elimination Chamber. And that's what's going to happen. That's my prediction for the Elimination Chamber. I guess we can get right to those, Johnny. I predict Kevin Owens will win this Elimination Chamber, go on to face Roman Reigns, and lose in probably their least impressive match. Because they've done, like, Last Man Standing, TLC, like, they've done it all, and this is supposed to be just one-on-one regular match. Maybe they'll go with Cesaro. Like, a backup, I'd do Cesaro because they're kind of giving him a little pushki, you know? He did that promo on Talking Smack people were happy with. He's got some wins. He beat Daniel Bryan a couple times. People are happy with Cesaro. They're thinking maybe they're going to do something with him. But we've seen this story play out time and time again in WWE. They're not. So maybe he wins the Chamber and gets a title match with Roman. He comes close. The Cesaro section will, you know, get their moment of belief. They'll believe in their guy for a minute, and then he'll lose. I could see them doing that, too. Maybe saying, all right, it's enough with Kevin Owens here. Kevin and Roman have done their thing. Let's move on to something else. Give Cesaro a chance to shine. You don't kill his momentum because you have him win the Chamber. It's a big thing, you know? It's a big match to win, but you don't kill his momentum totally because he loses to Roman, but he loses to him after having gone through the Chamber. I'd still put my money on Kevin Owens to win because WWE is pretty predictable like that. I think Cesaro would be a smarter move, but I don't think they're going to do that. And, like, for sure not Daniel Bryan, because I think they're done with Bryan. I think Bryan's leaving the company, quite frankly. The way they're treating him on TV, I'm starting to think that his contract, when it runs out, he's gone. Because they are not doing anything with him. I wonder what's going on there. So, Bryan's definitely not winning the Chamber. And if he does, like, why? You know? You don't want to win this Chamber because you're just going to lose to Roman on pay-per-view. Okay. I'm going to go with Kevin Owens to win the Elimination Chamber. And then he'll obviously lose to Roman. Johnny, who's your pick to win the Chamber?
Well, I'm kind of like you. I got Kevin Owens because I feel like they brought Kevin back to finally end this with Roman. I thought it was done after the Rumble, but they wanted to continue this, so fine, we'll do another match. But I think if it's not going to be Kevin, I actually think it's going to be Daniel Bryan. Because as much as like you don't believe Daniel Bryan is like getting a push whatsoever, he did win the main event of SmackDown. So it doesn't mean like he's completely out of the picture right here. And I think if he doesn't get the shot at Elimination Chamber, I could easily see a Fastlane, Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah, maybe. I could see that too. You know, maybe. Daniel Bryan gets a match at Fastlane with Roman Reigns. But do you want to see that? Like,
It can be a great match.
But it's filler. It's filler. I don't want to see Daniel Bryan in filler. I want him to do meaningful stuff. This whole Kevin Owens thing with Roman Reigns has been filler. He's been building Roman up for Mania. They use their top talent as filler, and their filler is top talent. Hi, Nick. Douglas Hepburn says, Nick says hi to the Wrestling Uncensored universe. Hi, Nick. Derek John says, if Kevin Owens doesn't win the Chamber, I think the winner has a better chance of beating Roman. I don't think anybody's beating Roman on Sunday. No chance. That's what you got. No chance in hell. Daniel Bryan had the line of the night.
Lock of the night.
Yeah, lock of the night, right? Roman retains. 100%. Daniel Bryan, line of the night tonight. Him and Cesaro were backstage talking about how Kevin Owens never turns on his partners because Kevin Owens was their tag team partner that night. Bryan and Cesaro were talking about how, oh, yeah, Owens never turned on the New Day when he was Big KO, and then he turned on them pretty quickly, or Sami Zayn, and Bryan's like, I know there's a big name that we're missing. We should have made a list. Fantastic.
It was a good line.
Oh, such a good line. And you saw Kevin kind of pop, too. Kevin kind of laughed. I think that was a legit laugh because it was funny, man. It was a funny line. And Daniel Bryan in the main event, it was Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, and Cesaro versus Jey Uso, King Corbin, and Sammy. Bryan got the pinfall or the yes lock tap on Sammy after an awesome suplex off the top into the yes lock. I thought that was match of the night tonight. I didn't think we had a great night of wrestling. Yeah, I thought everything was pretty terrible tonight, but I thought the main event was the best match that we saw. I mean, Shinsuke and Apollo was pretty good.
It was super short, though.
Yeah,
but it felt like there was too much distraction.
Ray and Dominic against Gable and Otis wasn't bad for, you know, what it was. Ray and Dominic beat Gable and Otis. The finish was awful, though. But I liked Otis being aggressive and mean. I liked Otis beating up on Ray and Dominic. That was cool. But the finish, so Gable and Otis lost by disqualification because Gable was the illegal man and he jumped in the ring to start coaching Otis as he beat on Ray, and the referee counted to 5 and Gable didn't leave. Kind of acted like he didn't even hear the referee, and then they called for the bell. And then Otis beat Ray up a little bit more after the match. Dolph Ziggler and Robert Roode were on commentary, but I'm not sure why. Are Dominic and Ray getting a tag team title shot? Because Ziggler and Roode are the tag team champs, but like usually if they're going to be the next contenders, they'd look strong in the match with the champions ringside. But Dominic and Ray just got beat up. And Ziggler and Roode were like laughing about it. Very strange segment. Not sure who the number one contenders are for the SmackDown titles. I don't think it matters. Maybe the Street Profits, but I didn't see either of those guys this week. What happened to those guys? Ray and Dominic get the win over Gable and Otis. Really bad finish. Like, really bad.
Well, what made it bad was you saw in the match that just happened before that, it was a 6-person match where you had Sasha, Bianca, and Reginald all get in the ring together. That was way over like 5 seconds there.
Yeah.
And they just let them do whatever they want. But there, it's like, 5 seconds, 2 people in the ring, DQ. So it just, in one match it's fine, the other match it's not fine. That's what kind of made it ridiculous. That's why the commentators was like, what's going on here? That's what also hurt that as well. Is like no one understood what was going on.
Yeah. It was a very bad finish. But imagine how bad SmackDown has to be when I'm saying, well, Ray and Dominic had a pretty good showing because, well, Reginald wrestled on this card. So, it wasn't a very good SmackDown. Reginald was wrestling. Tamina had a lot of ring time. And she actually looked good. Like, Tamina looked better than most on this card. But, yeesh. Pretty awful SmackDown tonight. Shinsuke beat Apollo Crews with a pinfall after a flying armbar. I thought the finish was pretty sweet on that match. Like, the finish was nice there. Apollo attacked Shinsuke after the match. Apollo grabbed the ring steps. Big E was ringside on a couch eating a TV dinner for some reason. He was barefoot getting some sort of foot massage on some sort of machine, or I don't know what he had his feet in. I don't know what the hell Big E was doing. What is that supposed to be? The TV dinner, the couch. What is that exactly with Big E? I don't think there's an explanation. Anyways, Apollo is beating up Shinsuke after the match. He grabs the ring steps. Big E's like, no, put them down, walk away. And then E goes to see Shinsuke and check on him. And then Apollo hits E from behind with the ring steps. And then he clotheslines Nakamura over the barricade. It looked pretty good. The hit with the ring steps and the clothesline over the barricade looked solid. Apollo continued to beat on Big E and then tossed him into the ring, had the ring steps. Big E then rolled out of the ring. And it was a lot going on in between the shot to the back. Big E sold the shot to the back like he got killed. And then it took him a while to get back in the ring and then roll back out of the ring. And then Apollo took the ring steps and he threw them outside the ring. And you're supposed to believe that he threw them on Big E, but you didn't see any contact. You just see Apollo in the ring throwing the steps outside the ring where Big E was. You never see Big E getting hit with the ring steps, so obviously he didn't get hit with the ring steps. But they sold it like he did, and he was taken out on a stretcher. So they sold it like Apollo killed Big E with these ring steps, and he's in a hospital now, even though you didn't see it. When people already say wrestling's fake, don't do overtly fake things on TV. When people think the chair shots to the face, people think, the average person that doesn't know anything about wrestling thinks when Apollo hit Big E with the stairs in the back, it didn't hurt. But I bet you it did. Right, John? Those stairs are heavy. That hurt. You're a wrestler. You can imagine, did it injure Big E? No. But did it feel good? No. But there are people out there that don't get that, right? They think all the punches are fake. Everything's fake. You get hit with the stairs. They're not really heavy. They're not really steel. They don't really hurt. They are heavy. They are steel. They do hurt. I don't know if they're steel. They might be something else. I don't know about metals. But I know that they're heavy, right? Because I've seen people struggle to pick them up, right? And you hear the sound when they are tossed. They're heavy. They hurt. And Apollo smashed Big E in the back with it. But when people think that everything's fake, when you show them something that's obviously fake, like Big E nowhere near getting hit with those ring steps because you didn't see any contact, and then he's taken out on a stretcher, it doesn't help the angle. It doesn't make you believe that Apollo did anything dastardly to Big E. It doesn't build the heat between the two. And for the average person watching, they think, oh, wow, that's more phony bullshit in wrestling. That type of stuff kills it. Takes you completely out of it. And when it's so obviously fake, it ruins the moment. And it does not help the feud. It does not help the guys.
Well, it could have been better, obviously, but this is wrestling. This happens quite often where they do this little stuff where it's like, oh, someone got hurt, but you didn't actually see it. It happens quite a bit in wrestling. It's better that they fake it than the guy actually takes a shot and potentially actually seriously gets injured. I'd rather that actually. They actually fake it instead of someone actually gets seriously hurt. So I don't mind them protecting people for that sake. I mean,
but don't do it then. Do something else. You know what I mean? Have Apollo powerbomb him through the table or beat him up, hit him in the head, leave him bloody. A little blood. I guess they don't want to do blood on Fox, but that's where you get heat. That's why blood is useful sometimes. You bust somebody open, you get the picture. That builds heat. But, goddamn, pal. That builds it builds no heat. You know what I mean? It doesn't. I get it. Yeah, sure. You don't want somebody to get smashed in the head for real with a pair of ring steps. You can't just throw ring steps at somebody. That's gonna hurt. I get that, John. But it doesn't build heat for the match between Apollo and Big E that will happen eventually for the Intercontinental title. It doesn't build the heat because you don't believe that Apollo really did anything to Big E because you didn't see anything happen. You don't believe it. That off-camera violence doesn't work. When you see so much real violence on the show, when something that's supposed to be so important is not even seen, doesn't work.
It's just one of those moments where you just have to accept that this is the way they're going with it. The fact that they're playing the story that Apollo injured Big E, and this is the heat, that the fact that he injured him. And he kind of betrayed him too. This was his friend. And he kind of stabbed him in the back when he told him back off. Yeah.
I get it, John. I get what they're trying to do, but I don't think it's working for anybody. Derek John bringing up a good point about the match, the main event. It was a good main event, but the Cesaro swing, what happened there? And Derek John's dead on. He says Cesaro was swinging Corbin, and then he dropped him before the commercial break and fell. Cesaro fell. You noticed that, right? He had a hell of a time swinging Corbin. Corbin was dead weight, didn't look like he was trying to help Cesaro in any kind of way with that swing, right? So Cesaro's struggling to swing him. He starts swinging him a little bit. He stumbles and falls over. We go to commercial break. It was almost like we went to commercial to save Cesaro from looking bad, but they didn't cut early enough. You know what I mean? It was bad. And then when they come back, Cesaro is swinging Corbin, and commentary's he's still swinging him. We went to commercial and he was swinging him, and then we come back and he never stopped swinging him. But obviously he stopped because when we went to commercial, he fell down. Why did commentary sell it like Cesaro had been swinging him this whole time? Ridiculous.
Well, mistakes happen, and you just move on, and that's what happened, pretty much.
Yeah,
they just moved on.
Yeah, they just moved on. They're that wasn't a mistake. It was fine. Antoinette on the chat, she loves your shirt, Johnny. Your Owen Hart shirt, pretty cool. I guess Antoinette, she's out in Toronto. She doesn't like my shirt. You know what I'm saying? I'm wearing this because we re-signed Brett Gardner today to a year deal with an option for a second. The Gardy party is back in the Bronx, baby. The Yankees welcome back Brett Gardner. Tremendous. I love that guy. I love Gardy, so I'm real happy. Spring training is coming. I keep doing the wrong one. Spring training is coming, baby. Yankees are coming. 2021 World Series champions. Let's go. Anyways, back to the wrestling. Douglas Hepburn, there's a conversation on the chat. People want to know what's going to be more exciting on Sunday, the Elimination Chamber or the Montreal Canadiens Ottawa Senators hockey game. I would say the Chamber because, wrestling is always more entertaining than hockey. Even when wrestling's bad, I would always take wrestling over hockey, but that's just me. I know there are hockey fans out there. Douglas Hepburn says Habs will be more entertaining, but Johnny and Dave will be a good way to finish the night. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not watching hockey. I never watch hockey. I don't like hockey. I find hockey very boring. I really do. I know there's a lot of hockey fans, and I don't want to get any heat with any of the chat, but I like pro wrestling. I like mixed martial arts. I don't really like hockey. I try to watch it, with friends. And I live in Montreal, right? So I've tried to watch it, and it's just kind of... It's long, man, and they skate around, and then they don't score. It's like they skate back and forth. It's like soccer on ice. I don't know. I'm not super entertained. And their fights are weak. Like, to me, a fight starts when you go to the ground. In hockey, as soon as they go to the ground, they're like, oh, stop the fight. And I'm like, well, put him in a guard. Throw an armbar up there. What are you guys doing? I'm not interested. Johnny, you like hockey. What's going to be better, the Chamber or the hockey?
Well, because we're going to be talking about the Elimination Chamber, I'll be watching the Chamber. But,
correct.
Every odd moment, I'll be watching the game because that is a pretty big game, so I'm very interested. But, hockey's not for everyone.
Yeah. It's not for me. I don't really like it. But I like wrestling. Even when it's bad, I still like it, I watched SmackDown tonight. I didn't hate it watching the show. I just thought it was a bad show, but I enjoyed it more than, watching boring things on TV. Like, I still chose to watch SmackDown. You know what I mean, John? Like, I'd rather watch SmackDown than, Law and Order SVU or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of shit on TV that I'm just like, yeah, whatever. SmackDown may suck. It may be a bad episode of SmackDown, but a bad episode of SmackDown to me is still better than most shows on TV.
It wasn't so bad that I regret watching it.
Yeah.
But I fear that one day we might get there the way this is going, unfortunately, how bad WWE is getting. It
gets there sometimes. It definitely does get there. We did have to watch Reginald wrestle tonight, right? Bayley hosted the Ding Dong Hello show. Her guests were Shayna and Naya. They don't fit in the door at the same time and can't figure out how to get through the door. So it started out real stupid. Naya, they're both trying to get in at the same time, and they're like, oh, how do we do this? And then they're like, hey, one at a time. Ugh. It's like they've never gone through a door before. Truly, truly an idiotic gag to start off the bad segment. Naya is glad that Bayley got rid of Sasha as her tag team partner, and then Naya and Shayna just talk about Bianca and Sasha and how much they don't like them. And then Reginald comes out to defend Sasha Banks for some reason. Even though he's Carmella Sommelier, he seems to want to become Sasha Banks' sidekick. Sasha shows up, tells Reggie not to speak for her, and that the whole division revolves around her because she's the boss. Okay? Bianca Belair shows up and says that she won the Rumble, so she's the star of the division, and that people don't revolve around her, they get beat by her. I don't know if Bianca understands being the star of the division, and does Bianca realize that winning the Rumble just earns you a shot at the title that Sasha holds? Sasha's the champion already. But Bianca is a star in the division. She's coming off really cocky, though, since winning the Rumble. Like, her promos, she's just like, nobody revolves around me. They just get beat by me. She's very, full of herself since winning the Rumble. And I wonder if it's going to backfire on her. I think if there were fans for WrestleMania, people might be cheering for Sasha over Bianca. Because of the way that they've kind of positioned Bianca since winning the Rumble. Her whole gimmick is she's the EST of NXT or of WWE. She's the best, greatest, all that stuff. And if I'm not wrong, I'm pretty sure that she started the whole gimmick in NXT as a heel, right? That was a heel gimmick to start. It wasn't a babyface gimmick the whole time. So I'm not sure where Bianca's going right now. Right? Like, Bianca was a heel in NXT for a while, right? And it was the same gimmick. They bring her up to the main roster as a babyface, but...
Yeah, as far as I know, her coming up to the main roster is only actual face run. But I actually prefer the whole cocky attitude compared to her, like, crying all the time. Like, that's what her character was the whole fact that she was the EST of everything. Not her, like, oh, she's so happy about everything, cry, cry, cry. Like, that's not what sold us on, like, Bianca Belair. It was the attitude. So, like, she needs to show more of that. And, like, I don't know. I always find Sasha is, like, the biggest jerk in WWE, just the way she comes off. So, like, regardless if Bianca has a bit of attitude, it pales in comparison to, like, the jerk level of Sasha Banks. So,
yet they're both babyfaces. They're both extremely cocky babyfaces. Reginald, for some reason, suggests a match. He wants to team with Bianca and Sasha to face Naya, Shayna, and Bayley. Sasha's just confused by the suggestion. Bianca seems into it. Naya really wanted the match. Bayley was off to the side, just like, I guess we're doing this. Bayley seems to not even believe that she's involved in this nonsense. And then we had the match. Reginald, Bianca, and Sasha beat Naya, Shayna, and Bayley. Reginald got the pin on Naya. Naya had him in a power slam position up here. And Bianca and Sasha did a double drop kick to the back of Reginald. Naya comes toppling down right on her hole. 1, 2, 3. Reginald gets the win for the team of Reginald, Bianca, and Sasha. Not the greatest moment in SmackDown history. Why is Reginald wrestling with the women? He wrestled Sasha Banks a few weeks ago on SmackDown. Now he was in a 6-person tag. Is there something we don't know about Reginald? Is Reginald the next Tyler Rex? You know what I mean? Like, is Reginald, like, just in early stages of transitioning and eventually it's going to be Regina? You know what I'm saying? He's just, like, getting us used to the idea of him wrestling in the women's division and he plans to transition. Like, if that's the case, I mean, that's kind of cool. It's forward thinking. But I don't understand why he, you know, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't think that that's the case. I don't think that's the case. I don't really understand what's going on. Why does Reginald wrestle in the women's division? It's very strange. It's not something we've ever seen in the WWE before. A male talent wrestling exclusively in the women's division. It wasn't just a one-off match, and the one-off match was strange. Very little build for the match with Sasha. They just kind of had it because Sasha wanted it because she was feuding with Carmella at the time. Reginald, brought into the company as Carmella's sommelier, now seems to be like involved with Sasha Banks as well for some reason, even though Carmella's not anymore. And Reginald's wrestling in the women's division. Is he going to ever wrestle in the men's division? Is he going to be a wrestler in the women's division going forward? It's just strange now that there's been 2 matches for Reginald. I cannot remember a time when this has ever happened in the history of the WWE. When they bring in a new male talent to wrestle exclusively in the women's division. Not since Santina Marella.
well, like, there's a bit of background on Reginald. Like, he didn't have like any wrestling like background when he was signed. He was signed because some sort of program with Cirque du Soleil because he came from there. So WWE worked out some sort of joint program, so he got signed through that. So, like, he has no, like, wrestling background whatsoever. Like, he actually trained with Drew Onyx here. Like, that's how he got all his wrestling training. So, like, he had no matches whatsoever under his belt when he got signed by WWE. So, to me, it's looking like WWE just signed him because I think they want to do more intergender matches. But I guess, like, they're doing a kind of a slow kind of build. And it's not going to be with guys that are established. It's going to be with pretty much just brand new guys.
Just this guy.
Well, a guy that does like a lot of flips, that's pretty much all he does, right?
I don't understand how that makes him a wrestler for the women's division because he's inexperienced and he does a lot of flips and he's kind of small. Why would that make him a wrestler in the women's division? There are small guys who do flips. It's called 205 Live. Why isn't he there? You want to get some experience? Go watch a show that nobody watches. Unless you're trying to watch Everrise, which is like the only time I try to tune into 205 Live. I know those guys are there, and they're entertaining. Shout out to Everrise. Top Montreal tag team. Awesome. Awesome team who, by the way, I just want to give them a shout out. They're doing great work. Like their promos and everything, they're flying under the radar, but they are money right now, Everrise. I don't know if you've noticed what those guys are doing, but they're killing it. They're really finding their groove in WWE. They're not just a new tag team anymore. They're becoming a legit tag team that I think will get brought up to the main roster at some point. Just promo-wise, they're really finding their groove. I've seen a bunch of their stuff recently, and they're killing it. So, why doesn't Reginald go wrestle at 205 Live?
Well, as much as you say, like, 205 would be a better place for him, he's still very small. Like, I don't know if you noticed, like, wearing a T-shirt and pants, like, I think that was actually to add some size to him because he's just so small. Like, 205 guys are actually bigger than him, so, like, I believe that's the reason.
I still don't see that. The WWE Cruiserweight division had cruiserweights of differing sizes. Not every cruiserweight has to be the same size. He could just be the smallest guy in 205 Live. Sorry, isn't he roughly the same size as Lio Rush? How much bigger is he? How much bigger is Lio Rush, really? And Lio Rush was in the Cruiserweight division in NXT. He was a little guy who did a lot of flips. I don't remember Lio Rush. I mean, he was Bobby Lashley's manager. I don't remember Lio Rush having a match with Lana. Although that would have been nuts. But, you know what I mean? Like, how come Lio Rush didn't wrestle Sasha Banks? But Reginald is? It's strange, Sean. You could come up with any excuse or a rationale why they're doing this. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really add up. And again, when I see him, he's a tune-out. He's an inexperienced, flippy guy who's not a wrestler, who doesn't look intimidating, who's wrestling women, and is just like a punching bag for Nia Jax and Sasha Banks. He'll never challenge for the women's title, nor should he. It's not clear if he's with Carmella. Eventually, this is leading to a match with Carmella, I'm guessing, because, he seems to want to be with Bianca and Sasha, and then he goes backstage with Carmella, and Carmella's mad that he's out there wrestling instead of serving wine to her, which is his job because he is Carmella's personal sommelier, who seems to wander into matches, getting more ring time than Carmella is lately, which, again, is a problem. Why couldn't Carmella be the third person in that match? Had to be Reginald, I don't like men getting matches over women in the women's division on SmackDown. I'd rather see the women wrestle over Reginald. Just do Reginald versus Dominic exploding barbed wire match and get it over with. That's the exploding barbed wire match I came to see. Forget Kenny and Moxley. Give me Reginald versus Dominic in an exploding barbed wire match at WrestleMania. That would be fucking awesome. That would be so good. I mean, one of them might die. It'd be great. Come on. I want one of those guys to bleed. I want to see one of those guys bleed a lot. Profusely. Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13 blood. Dripping down Dominic's little face. And Reginald. I want a bloodbath between Dominic and Reginald. Who's with me? Come on, John.
You got way too much. You got way too much hate in your heart. I don't know what's wrong with you sometimes.
What do you mean? Oh, you're just a sick bastard who wants to see top wrestling talent like Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley exploded and bludgeoned with barbed wire. You don't think that Reginald and Dominic Mysterio, with the amount of TV time they're getting, should have to pay their dues by getting bloodied up in a hardcore exploding barbed wire match? pay their goddamn dues.
Well, I guess you haven't got the memo. Like, there's no blood in WWE, or not supposed to be anyways.
Sometimes
so,
there is.
if you want the blood and guts, tune into AEW, enjoy that.
I will.
But this, PG show, sports entertainment mainly. I mean, there'll be a bit of violence in Elimination Chamber, but that's all you're getting.
How crazy would it be, like Dominic versus Reginald, just in a match? It'd be nuts. But
it could very well happen one day.
Oh, death match. I want to see them bleed. I want to see barbed wire. I want to see everything. Thumbtacks. Come on, brother. Don't be scared. Don't be scared, Reginald.
Way too much.
Ah. So I liked Reginald. The best thing that Reginald did was take the backwash wine. Carmella gets a glass of wine from Reginald eventually. She sips it. She says it's terrible wine, spits it back out into the cup, and then throws the whole cup of wine in Reginald's face. Backwash wine right in his face. That's not fun. That's paying your dues, I guess. He doesn't bleed, but he gets Carmella's spit wine right in his face. That was good.
Well, some people would pay for that, so yeah, I mean, he's doing okay for himself.
Oh, so
actually,
gross,
I thought his best.
What do you mean?
It's true.
That's
so
vile.
True. People would.
Yeah, people are sick.
It's true.
You would.
But the best moment was when he put the tree up, actually. That was kind of funny.
The what?
Because Bailey had her whole set, and for whatever reason, her tree was pushed down, and he put the tree up because he's a gentleman.
Yeah. Bailey liked that.
That was nice. That was nice of him, yeah. Man, you got a lot of hate in your heart. Wow, it's unbelievable. It's like,
what do you mean?
Steaming from the other side,
no.
How much you hate Reginald.
I don't like Reginald or Dominic Mysterio because I don't think they belong on my TV screen when I'm watching a wrestling program. I see Apollo Crews and I think, yes, that is a professional wrestler. Look at that man. He's in tremendous shape. He can moonsault. He can gorilla press. He can do it all. Look at Big E. Look at Shinsuke Nakamura. Look at Seth Rollins. Look at Edge. Look at Rey Mysterio. Look at Kevin Owens. Those guys are professional wrestlers. And then you see Dominic and Reginald, and yeah. It doesn't look the same. They don't fit. Tamina and Natty beat Ruby Riot and Liv Morgan. Speaking of not fitting in, Billie Kay celebrating with Natty and Tamina after the match, trying to be on their team now. I guess she gave up on the Riot Squad. Tamina super kicked Billie. I guess they're not playing. They're giving Tamina and Natty a little run-ski as a tough team. They actually got the win over the Riot Squad. Tamina, was that a black hole slam she hit on Ruby Riot for the win?
Not quite a black hole slam. It was more like a go-home driver kind of thing where it's more into a power slam, kind of rock-bottom combination. But, still effective and not exactly a great tag match because it felt like tag out, you guys do moves, tag out, do moves, tag, finish. That wasn't a great tag match whatsoever, but whatever. And they don't even get the tag title shot. Sasha and Bianca get the tag title shot at the pay-per-view, so that was even more weird.
Who's getting the tag team title shot? Sasha and Bianca?
It's gonna be, yeah.
Why?
Because they won on SmackDown. They won that 6-person match.
Oh, that was for a tag team title shot? Or they just get one because...
Just get one, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Natty and Tamina don't really make sense because they're kind of like the junior version of the Naya and Shayna tag team. They're both heels, right? Maybe Lana and Naomi would make sense, though, right? I thought it was going to be them.
I don't think they have faith in them to do a pay-per-view match, though. I think that was the problem. Because I don't know if you remember that the 3 corners match they had. That was awful. So
yeah.
I don't know if they want to give them pay-per-view time. And you complained about there's no women's matches on the pay-per-view. And that match is going to be the only women's match, so you want it to be the best match you possibly can. Plus, that's probably going to sell the whole Sasha versus Bianca. They're probably going to have a problem, and that's going to build towards the WrestleMania match.
Are we supposed to believe that Bianca is still thinking about challenging somebody other than Sasha Banks at this point? She's clearly only challenging Sasha Banks. I don't think Bianca has said Asuka once. She hasn't really looked at Asuka on Raw, and she's on SmackDown. She's feuding with Sasha. She's teaming with Sasha. She's teaming with Sasha tonight. She's teaming with Sasha on Sunday. It's obvious that they're going to wrestle each other. Why hasn't the WWE made it official? Why can't Bianca just say?
Well, I felt like she was going to say it, but she got cut off this week. So, I mean, she'll probably say it after the pay-per-view. I think Edge said he's going to say it at the pay-per-view or the day after. So, it's coming up. They just, they like to draw this out as much as they possibly can.
Yep, so we have Bianca and Sasha versus Naya and Shayna. I don't think Sasha and Bianca will win. They'll probably have some sort of disagreement, which will lead to them losing, and Naya and Shayna will retain the tag team titles in this one. Sasha versus Bianca at Mania. Naya and Shayna defending the tag team titles at WrestleMania, I think, is in the cards, but against who?
Well, they got a bunch of contenders when you think about it. It's probably going to be Lana, Naomi. It's probably going to be the team from NXT, Dakota Kai, Rochelle Gonzalez.
Maybe Natty and Tamina. Yeah.
Exactly.
Four corners.
Make that four corners match.
Yeah. That makes sense. Asuka versus Lacey Evans is still booked technically, but it's not happening, right? Asuka is not going to defend her title. Lacey is really pregnant. It's not Ric Flair's baby, but she's really pregnant, so she's not going to wrestle Asuka for the Raw Women's title. Do you think they replace Lacey with somebody here? Charlotte or... I don't know. I thought they might throw Naya or Shayna at her, but they're in a tag team match, so I don't know. I don't think we see Asuka on this pay-per-view.
There might be like a segment, some sort of promo backstage or something, but unless they want to add a replacement last minute, I guess we get nothing. Oh, well.
What else is on this card? Not much. Bobby Lashley defending the United States title against Keith Lee and Riddle, but is Keith Lee even going to be there? Wasn't on Raw.
It's a little unfair making predictions for a pay-per-view where it's like we're not even sure what matches we're going to see, but I'm guessing Bobby Lashley's going to win this one, whatever match happens.
Yeah, I think he'll probably retain. I think it's going to be Lashley and Riddle one-on-one. I don't think Keith Lee's going to be there. I think there's rumors that he might be hurt, but of course his fiancée, Mia Yim, had COVID. It's possible he's got COVID. Keith Lee's status is up in the air right now. I don't expect him to be there on Sunday. I hope he is, though. I think the triple threat will be fun, but I don't think he's going to be. I think it's going to be Riddle versus Lashley. I think Lashley retains. If we even see that match, they might scrap it all together with Keith Lee not being there. Drew McIntyre defending the WWE Championship in the Elimination Chamber against AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Kofi Kingston. This is where something might happen. Because, word is it's going to be Bianca versus Sasha, Roman versus Edge, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest against Miz and Morrison. And there was some other match for Mania. There was like 4 matches that seemed pretty well set in stone. But the WWE title match was not one of them. The WWE title match seems like unclear if Drew is going to be the one defending. I'll just give you the latest rumor from WrestleVotes on Twitter, who always has the money. They're saying that Edge versus Roman, Randy versus The Fiend, Bianca versus Sasha, and a tag team match with Bad Bunny, Damian Priest versus John Morrison and The Miz. So those are the 4 matches that we know of. Those are the 4 matches that are pretty well set, although things could always change. But the WWE title match apparently not set for WrestleMania. They don't know what they're going to do with the WWE title for Mania. At this point, it looks like Drew Sheamus, because Drew is feuding with Sheamus. Drew is defending his title in this Elimination Chamber, And he's really not feuding with anybody but Sheamus. You know, he had his little thing with Randy Orton. Randy's in this match, I guess. He's not really feuding with AJ Styles. And Jeff Hardy and Kofi Kingston are babyfaces, so there's that. I could see Sheamus winning the title and then them dragging it out to Mania for a rematch. Or, I don't know. What do you do with Drew?
Well, the way I look at it, if Randy's not winning the match, I think Drew should just remain champion. You've made him such a strong champion already. I think make him go all the way to WrestleMania 1 year later and defend the title. Sheamus isn't the best opponent, but I mean, that's the story that makes the most sense right now. So unless someone else comes up, Sheamus is the guy.
How about a Miz cash-in?
Yeah, sure. Like, you could have Miz cash in either way. Like, cash in on either WWE champion, or even if Edge wins the title, cash in on Edge. You know, people would be very upset with that. I mean, it works either way with the Miz, so that's pretty good.
So you don't think he cashes in at the Chamber? You think he saves it?
Yeah, I think save it to WrestleMania.
I don't know. I could see him cashing in here. I could see them really making a move here for WrestleMania, because if they don't have a plan, this is the spot where you make a plan. This is the spot where you kind of reshuffle the deck and set something up for WrestleMania. I'm just not sure what they're going to set up. But they could really do anything. You know, they could really do anything. I think at the end of the day, though, Drew's going to retain the WWE title.
Right.
You know? Derek John says, I would like AJ Styles to win the Chamber. Me too. Like, if I had it my way, right? Mm-hmm. I would have... honestly, truly, if I were to pick a guy to win the WWE title here, it would be Kofi Kingston. No one would see it coming.
It's a nice pick.
Kofi Mania 2. And then, I don't know, you set something up with Kofi. Like, you set up a one-on-one match with Drew for Kofi at Mania. And it's like, all right, Kofi, you won the Chamber, but you didn't pin Drew. You know, Sheamus bro-kicked him, and then Randy RKO'd him, and then he got pinned. You know what I mean? Like, they could do a thing where everybody hits their finish on Drew, they take him out right away, and then there's going to be a new champion. Didn't they do that with Cena at one point in the Chamber?
They did it with Edge, actually.
It was Edge. He was the champion going into the Chamber. Everybody hit their finish on him. He got eliminated first, and it was like, oh, well, we know one of these men is going to be the new champion at the end of the match. I like that. I thought that was cool. Like, you could see, like, you could tell it's memorable, right? Because, I mean, I didn't remember who it was, but I did remember that spot in a Chamber, and it's like, I can't remember that many spots in all the Chamber matches that I've seen. So that made that Elimination Chamber special, because it was a cool kind of concept where it's like, oh, you get rid of the champion first, and then moving forward, it's like, okay, well, you really care about this match. It's like, it keeps you on the edge of your seat for the whole match, right? When the champion's there, you kind of think, he's going to retain. But once the champion's gone, you know there's going to be a new champion, and one of these guys is going to be it. Then it keeps you on the edge of your seat, you know, because you know a title change is happening. You just don't know where it's going. I think it would be cool if they took Drew out right away, you know? Randy hits an RKO, Sheamus with a brogue, AJ with the phenomenal forearm, Jeff Hardy with a swanton, Kofi with the kick. 1, 2, 3. Get rid of Drew, and then, you know, Kofi wins the title, and then you do Kofi Drew at Mania to see if Kofi can really beat him, and maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. Maybe turn Kofi heel or turn Drew heel throughout this whole thing. Because Sheamus versus Drew one-on-one at Mania doesn't really do it for me. AJ Styles versus, you know, Drew at Mania doesn't really do it for me either, because we've seen AJ versus Drew before. I'd like to see Kofi become a 2-time champion as well. I think he's a really talented guy. I'd like to see them, push Kofi a little bit harder. Do a little bit more with Kofi. I don't think his first run was that great. Or hell, have Kofi win the title here and have him wrestle Brock at Mania. It's like, all right, Kofi, you won the title. You did it. And now here's your opponent for WrestleMania. And it's like, uh-oh. And everybody remembers what happened, last time Kofi faced Brock. He lost in, 8 seconds? Lost the title? So, but that would be cool. That would be really cool if Kofi won the title here in the chamber and then Brock Lesnar showed up at the end of the chamber and like F5 Kofi, or he shows up on Raw and F5's Kofi. Kofi goes, has a big celebration, interrupted by Brock Lesnar, who just whoops his ass. I'm trying to find something here that I would like to see. I'm trying to find something here that's a good story, that would be a good match, that would get people talking and get people interested. I don't think Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus is that match. I don't really know what you do with Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania that you haven't done already. He's beat Goldberg. He's beat Brock. He's beat AJ. He's beat Randy. I mean, there's only one guy that I could think of that you could pull out for Drew to beat at WrestleMania, but I don't want to see it. But Triple H would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, he always does, sadly.
Right? That'd be terrible.
But I don't think
right?
it's going to happen.
I don't think it's going to happen either. But it would make a lot of sense. What do you do? What do you do at WrestleMania with the WWE Championship? What would you book? I just laid out a story with Kofi and maybe bring back Brock Lesnar, and that would be fun for Mania. It'd be a hell of a build, and you'd really have fear for Kofi Kingston going in, and then he could win, and, that'd be good.
What I would do is I'd, change a lot of things up. I'd have Randy win the chamber, and then you'd have Randy versus Edge. That's WrestleMania. And then I'd have Roman versus Daniel Bryan on SmackDown instead. And the Fiend can wrestle somebody else. The Fiend can wrestle Braun Strowman.
Sorry, no.
Something else.
I'm not allowing that. You're taking pieces that are already used. No.
Yeah,
you're taking pieces that are already used. No.
It's my WrestleMania.
No. I want you to live in reality and try to book something for the WWE. I'm Vince, and I'm telling you, no, pal. Roman's wrestling Edge, and we have to do The Fiend versus Randy. And really, they kind of do have to do The Fiend versus Randy. He burnt the man alive. Alexa Bliss keeps haunting him. I mean, come on. Randy's wrestling The Fiend whether you like it or not, John. Okay? So, don't give me that. Give me something else. Give me what I want. I'm seeing people on the chat talking about John Cena. John Cena's not going to be there. He's filming a movie in Canada. And he can't leave because he'd have to come back and quarantine for 14 days. And that would halt production. So he's not going to be at WrestleMania. No Cena. You can't see him.
Longer, no?
Yeah, I don't know. He'd have to quarantine for a while and it would shut down production. He's doing movies. He's not going to be at WrestleMania. And I know people don't believe him, but I believe him. He's not going to be at Mania. Stuck in Canada, like Derek John says. DW Ogilvy says, hello from YVR. What's YVR?
I'm not sure.
I don't know either. Where's YVR? Never. No, give me something with the pieces that are available, John. Not the pieces that are already booked. I already told you. Edge is wrestling Roman. Randy's wrestling The Fiend. Bad Bunny is already booked, John. You can't have Bad Bunny versus Drew. Bad Bunny's teaming with Damian Priest against Miz and Morrison. So Miz isn't winning the championship. Unless they switch it up, but I don't think they will. Oh, Vancouver. YVR is Vancouver. Shout out to Vancouver. So give me something with the pieces that make sense, John. WWE title match at WrestleMania. Go!
Well, then it's going to be Drew versus Sheamus. That's been building on Raw. You may not like it, but that's the best thing they have.
Good.
They don't have anything else. That's all they got on Raw is Drew versus Sheamus. Deal with it.
I think people like my story better. I think mine is better. I don't like that. Drew versus Sheamus. I don't think anybody wants to see that. Anybody want to see that on the chat? Anybody hype for that as a main event for WrestleMania? Is that the main event that you want to see? Is that a WrestleMania that you're excited for? Drew McIntyre versus Sheamus for the WWE title. Edge versus Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Bianca versus Sasha for the SmackDown Women's title. I'm trying to come up with a match that I will want to see. I don't know if Daniel Bryan. What's Daniel Bryan gonna do?
Seth Rollins.
People on the chat don't want to see Drew versus Sheamus. I'm sure they'd rather see Kofi versus Brock. Seth Rollins versus Daniel Bryan, yeah. Seth Rollins cut a big long promo tonight. Super boring. Said nothing. He said he was going to take legal action against Cesaro and the other people that walked out on him last week when he cut his promo. What? Well, I mean, what the hell was he saying? And then he talked about Cesaro, and Cesaro ruined his big return, and he's going to sue him or something. That was an awful promo by Seth. Awful.
He's boring. That's the problem. Like, there's nothing different. There's nothing exciting about his character whatsoever. It's just a lot of the same stuff, and you kind of tune out, and you don't really care what he says. And it's just a terrible character that I don't really care about whatsoever. I'm kind of glad he's on the pay-per-view.
Yeah, I am too. Terrible character. Again, one of those guys is going to have to turn babyface, Roman or Seth. Probably Seth at some point, because with Seth and Roman on the same show, it's only a matter of time before they face each other for the title. Derek John says he'd like to see AJ Styles win and face somebody on SmackDown like Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, or Cesaro for the title. I mean, yeah. Yeah. I mean, of course, right?
Yeah, let's just go after SmackDown. You know, when it's the Raw title, like no one on Raw can face it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that. I mean, in a dream world, you know. I'd like to see Edge versus Christian at WrestleMania for the WWE title, you know, but that's just not going to happen. I'd like to see Daniel Bryan versus Edge for the WWE Championship, but that's just not going to happen. Like, if Daniel Bryan won the title and beat Roman, and then it was Bryan versus Edge at Mania, I'd be thrilled. I'd be so happy. But, you know, then Roman wouldn't have a big match for Mania, which is not happening. We got to, I mean, it's nice to dream, but we also have to think kind of logically in what the WWE might do. What they might do. You got to, you know, I try to give you what I would want to see in a dream world, but also kind of keep it realistic because you know what you're dealing with the WWE. Not great. Elimination Chamber.
Realistically,
yeah.
Drew and Sheamus, like I could see that. Realistically.
Yeah. That's it. That's what makes the most sense, but that's a snoozer. Not too fun. And again, it kind of leaves so many great talents without anything big for WrestleMania. You know? Think of the matches that I talked about, and now think of AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, Kevin Owens, Asuka. So many top talents right now, WWE. I mean, Asuka will have something to do, probably.
Yeah.
If she doesn't drop her belt.
Champion.
But let's talk about the male talents for a second. Daniel Bryan, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Cesaro, Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles. All those guys are directionless for WrestleMania. Completely directionless. That's why the WWE is where it is creatively. Like, those guys are so good, they should always have something. They should be the heart and soul of your company, but they're just there to kind of put the other guys over. Ugh. It's right. You can't argue with that. There's some top talents: Sami Zayn, Cesaro, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, Kevin Owens. Those 5 guys. Just talk about those 5 guys. Throw Nakamura in there if you want to. Directionless for WrestleMania. The best guys they have nothing going for them for the biggest show of the year. Not good. Like, they wonder how to fix this. It's a pretty easy fix. A lot of times, it's a pretty easy fix. Push some guys, pull back on others. It's a basic fix.
I just wouldn't worry about any of those guys, though. I mean, they'll find a spot. I mean, you look at last year's WrestleMania, a lot of those matches just came together within the last couple of weeks. So I imagine something like that's going to happen again. Like, they'll find spots for a lot of guys. Remember, WrestleMania is 2 nights, so they can find spots.
Yeah, they can find you a spot in a little match on the card that means absolutely nothing. But the main events, forget about it.
Well, that's the title matches.
Yeah. And who are your champions? Like, Drew could not be champion at Mania, you know? Drew and Sheamus is not anything anybody wants to see. I hope it doesn't happen. I really hope it doesn't happen. I hope WWE figures out that that is not the way to go, but we will find out at the Elimination Chamber coming up on Sunday. We will be live right after the Chamber to recap the show with you around 10 p.m. on Sunday night right here on the Ringside Report Network for the WWE Elimination Chamber. I'll be here. My brother will be here. Johnny North will be here. We're going to have a good time talking Chamber with you. Don't forget to support the Ringside Report Network by supporting our sponsors. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20. You get 20% off your order plus free shipping. They've got great products to keep you looking and smelling good where it counts. Manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you over at manscaped.com using that promo code Ringside20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. And if you want to play some bets, play some wagers on the UFC card tomorrow night, go over to bet99.com, use that promo code Ringside, and you will get a matching bonus of up to $600 on your first deposit. You put that money in, and Bet99 will match it up to $600 when you use your promo code Ringside over at bet99.com. Big UFC card tomorrow night. Curtis Blades versus Derek Lewis. Going to be a lot of fun watching that one. Going to be a lot of fun watching the Chamber on Sunday. I hope. Big weekend coming up in combat sports right here on the Ringside Report Network. Thank you to everybody watching. We appreciate you in the chat. We appreciate you listening and watching, be it on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on Twitch, on all the things, on podcasts. However you do it. Thank you to our members, especially Douglas Hepburn, Derek John, Patrick C. Hamilton, Antoinette. I see you all in the chat, and I appreciate you guys. Appreciate the members. Everybody signing up as a member. We appreciate you. Go become a member. Craig Paquette as well. He's a member. Become a member of the YouTube channel. Become a member over at donate.ringsidereport.net. Buy us a coffee over at donate.ringsidereport.net. Sign up. Become a member. Become part of the team. Become one of our best buddies. Okay? Go to ringsidereport.net. In the meantime, Johnny and I will see you back here Sunday night after the Chamber. Like the video, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell so you get the notification when we're on Sunday night right after the Chamber.
Thank you and good night.
Please join in and give your support to Ringside Report Network. We've been providing expert coverage and commentary on both pro wrestling and MMA for over 15 years. Ringside Report started on the radio, added podcasts, and moved to video in 2019. Our hosts are not just fans, but have in-depth knowledge of the subjects. Become a member of our YouTube channel now and become a recurring supporter of our work as we strive to continue to entertain you in these strange times. Pro wrestler Johnny Genesis North joins lifelong wrestling fan and aficionado Dave Simon to host our pro wrestling programming with in-depth coverage of the WWE, AEW, and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Our flagship show, Wrestling Uncensored, is live every Friday right after WWE SmackDown. Here, you get a review of the week that was. You may not agree with our host. In fact, they often don't agree with each other. But you have an opportunity to chime in with your viewpoint in the chat rooms while live or in the comments section of YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook on the replay. Dave and Johnny also headline our coverage of major pro wrestling pay-per-views and breaking news. Dave Simon is joined by experienced jiu-jitsu fighters Fred Garcia and the ever-unpredictable AJ DeLesio, each Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern with Ringside Report MMA. They try and foresee what's next in the octagon and review, argue, and kibitz in a very friendly, irreverent manner. The three guys also team up to accompany you on all the major UFC pay-per-views with entertaining watch-alongs. Go to ringsidereport.net/support to find out more ways to support the channel.